Hi there, I'm Katrina German, and I'm here with Alicia Edgelow, the CBC Senior Communications Officer.
Yeah, you got it.
Yes, I did. Woo! And one of the things that a lot of people who want to create a movement, who want to share their idea widely, whether you're an entrepreneur who wants to get an idea out there, you are an advocate, an activist, somebody who really wants to tell the world their message. One of the best ways to do that is to really engage your local media because they have huge audiences but they also need stories. And so Alicia is here to talk about what some of the things that you should be thinking about when you pitch local media. So what do you think is some of the best practices, Alicia?
So I consulted with some of my colleagues who are experts here, so I've got some good information for you all today. I think one of the main places to start is with research. So I think it's really important to know who you're pitching and how the media organization works, and also the different shows. So for instance, here at CBC in Saskatchewan, we've got like in Saskatoon, we've got Saskatoon Morning, and also we have the afternoon edition, and then Saskatchewan Weekend. So all of those shows are very different. So like Saskatoon Morning is very rooted in city specific, and the morning edition in Regina is very specific to Regina, whereas and a lot of current affairs and local stories. And then the afternoon edition is more provincial. And again, there's an opportunity for sort of a little bit more arts on that show. And then Saskatchewan Weekend, it's a lot more opportunity for different stories and music and different things that are going on in the art scene. So I think if you're listening and you're tuning in, then you really get a sense of how to pitch.
And I think that's applicable to other cities as well, any
Yeah.
area. Yeah.
Yeah, like in Toronto, like Metro Morning would be really different than the weekend show. And if you're listening to a show and you hear a story about something and you have another perspective, then call in and like give your side of the story, and you could wind up being a guest the very next day, because they're always looking for new voices and new stories to tell.
Yeah. And I think that makes for a really good point about talking about stories that are relevant, listening and then coming up with a story that's around that.
Yeah, and that's another one of my points is it's really important to be relevant, and current affairs shows are always looking for a local connection to global issues. So if there's something going on in national news, something big happening, and you're an expert or you have a story to tell with a local angle, it's very easily to get that covered. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I guess that kind of brings me to the next point is the very most important thing is tell a story. So, why does it matter? Who are the characters in this story? It's important that these stories are character driven, and also they're interesting and important to other people, not just yourself, because we all get sort of invested in our own projects, our own brands, but you kind of need to find that hook about why other people will find it interesting or inspiring.
Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
that's great news. And I think too, you can talk about numbers all you want, and you can just tell a kind of a dry fact story. But I think when you get that story attached, that's when people really start to listen and start to understand your cause or your mission or your message.
Yeah, and another thing is usually when people are trying to pitch, they really want to get the facts across. And one of the producers that I was talking to today, she said, it's really not about the facts. It's really about the story. That's what people remember. So it's good not to get hung up on those small facts, and just make sure that you're telling a really good narrative.
All right. So you're thinking to yourself, I want to tell this story on the news. What's the best way to go about it once you have a story? Like, what are the steps you should take to get your story on local media?
Yeah, so that's another thing is you need to do your research and find out how each different media organization likes to get their information, what their news cycle is. Print, you'd want to know when people's print deadlines are. For CBC Saskatchewan, it's really important to send an email to sasknews@cbc.ca. That goes to English, French, goes to digital, radio, TV, all of the producers and all of the journalists. So it's a pretty great email, and you can look at CBCs across the country and look at their Contact Us page. There's an email for, I think, basically every CBC. So that's a good way. I would make sure that it's concise, your emails, making sure that all the information's in there. What is it? When is it? Where is it? Why does it matter? Make
5
sure.
W's.
Yeah, make sure it's all in there, and be persistent. So there's so much information coming in and out. So it's best to send an email like 2 weeks leading up if it's an event, and then, you know, maybe another week in advance, the day before, and follow-up calls are very important too. So just make sure that you're being persistent and clear and telling a good story.
Oh, I love that. And
Yeah.
there's nothing better too than getting your point of view out to a large group of people. It works for everybody. You get to share your story. The media has something to talk about, especially if it's local. Like, you know, that is just something that's just could be so powerful. And it's something too where a lot of times, especially in Canada, you know, you share something with one media outlet and it gets shared, you know, across Canada if it's a really great story.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a really wonderful way to be sharing your information with a wide audience and really start a movement and get people informed about your cause or your mission or your product. So, okay, thanks so much, Leisha. That was really helpful, really great information. And get out there and tell your story. Bye-bye.
Bye.